Hi everyone, hope everyone's going really well. So it's such a nice day out there at the moment, isn't it? Just fantastic. Yeah, really love Sundays and so nice to have that time off and just chill out. I'm trying to kind of have Sundays as a chill out day. Just try and go to church and just do some jobs and rest and relax and actually write poems. And I have a poem here that I haven't ever shared on Facebook that it's quite timely because it's about a friend of mine who I used to work with at the St. Vincent de Paul secondhand store in Richmond quite a few years ago. And he passed away about a week or 10 days ago, I think, and went to his funeral on last Wednesday. And I didn't know him especially well, but he had a pretty big impact on me in the short time or where I did see him. And so I went to his funeral last Wednesday. So and I've just feel like the poem's pretty much complete. Hopefully it's ready. We'll see what happens. But here it is for you. Hope you enjoy. The Bootman. Jesus is dying in gold, crucified, holding to a necklace in infinite pain on a chain around the bootman's neck. A few years ago, I worked at a second-hand store for a couple of hours a week on Friday. There was a man I met back then called Boots, who wasn't really the poetic type like me. His sturdy hands loved to inspect the second-hand stuff. He said a bit with his words, but he said more with his slowly growing smile and the silence in between his words. He is making these words sturdy, making them say what they mean through me. Anyway, this bootman liked standing around, wheeling and dealing. He hated ingratiating himself to anyone. He was the type of man who would never ever talk about his feelings, but get on with the job regardless of how hard it was. He was always far harder than the job. He would like to say to me, Henry, let's get rid of this shit. I like the idea of a Christian swearing hard. Sometimes those swear words are the hardest to say, but you can say the most with the least. This is the stuff of poetry I see now. The best part of the job was driving around with this bootman and another man who was a builder. So we drove around Richmond, which is about as poetic as the Friesen works. That's why I love driving around in Richmond with him. I like sweating it out with these guys. I was 25 back then, and they were around 70 or so, to be politically correct and less direct. The bootman was a good driver. His hands didn't give the road an inch. He waved to every second car and every third passerby, as he had lived there his whole life, it seemed. He then cracked a joke. Now, I honestly can't remember the joke. It wasn't a male sexist joke. It didn't offend anyone, woman or men. But I can remember now that I can't remember the joke. I do remember it was something about a bridge. That's all. But it sent me into a manic patch. This bootman and the other man couldn't understand why I laughed so hard. But then they began to laugh at my laugh, and I began to laugh at their laugh, at my laugh. I thought the bootman might drive into a passerby on the footpath. Suddenly that understated Kiwi laugh turned to a fever pitch, and it was suddenly as though we'd been mates our whole lives. I thought this old second-hand van manned by the bootman might explode all over the road with first-hand laughter, and we might have ended in a ditch. I still see the bootman occasionally when I go to this cafe these days, when the economy is in a rough patch. He gave me a big bag of beautiful tomatoes with a smile the size of Alabama just the other day. I know he knows it's not easy being me or anybody really, though he would never say that, I see. But somehow, so miraculously, I am now a Christian too. I wanted to tell that to him, but these things aren't easy to do. I can see him now, though he's gone away, smiling in that easy, old-fashioned way, saying it all with those swear words cheerfully, giving a time of day to anybody and everybody, living by what he did and not what he said. I can see him now, though his body is dead. He is slowly smiling in that knowing golden way, holding tomatoes perfectly ripe, giving them away. Though he's gone away, I know and pray that I shall see him again one day. I see his memory has come to stay with me until that perfect day.